Welcome back to Virtual Reality Game Dev Ed. This is the 11th tutorial video for our friend Sky on using MakeHuman in Blender. Now this is right where I left off. We noticed that the sweater already came with the sweater out of the stable version of MakeHuman already came with a UV map too, but it's not quite mapped right for what we want to do. So it doesn't really work very well with this texture. So the first thing we're going to do is actually pick a different texture for this. Okay, so go back into your 3D view and come under textures. We're actually just going to go ahead and close out this file and open a new one. I'll open back up the clothing texture file that we just downloaded for free off of our website at vrealitygames.com. I'm gonna pick plain black and see how this looks rendered real quick. See, it's still a bit stretched at the front and whatnot, but that's okay. That will work for me for now. We're gonna get into UV mapping our own textures properly, our own clothes properly in the next couple videos here. So the next thing we're going to do is put a texture on our jeans here. We're actually going to put the denim texture that I have in that free file that I gave everybody. Okay, so go back to 3D view and select the jeans down here. I accidentally selected my posing, and that's not what I want to do, so I'm just going to left click on the jeans mesh here. And now we have to do the same kind of thing to this. We actually want to change this to full intensity, but change it to, like, say, a white. Okay. And then we want to come down, turn on transparency for it, and then come under textures. We want to add a new texture to it, change this to image, and then click open. Come to the file and you should see denim. I'm going to go ahead and pick the dark denim and see how this looks. Go ahead and come back under this little render tab and render that image and see how we look. I see our UV maps really messed up on that one. But there you go. There's a basic introduction to putting to editing your clothes and putting textures on them. So yeah, that's about good enough for me for this. I want to start making my own clothes. Do this right. Okay, so jump back into 3D view. While our jeans mesh is selected, actually let's go ahead and do the shirt mesh first. Well, let's do the jeans. Let's do the jeans mesh first. Okay, close this and come down here to this little tab until you see the little plus button from these little lines here. Pull this over so we have a second menu up here. We're going to use this. I actually want to scroll this down so we have plenty of area to see. And change this to UV image editor. Okay. Now we're actually going to go ahead and close this image because this isn't what we want at all. Okay. Now come under Object. You should see an option for UV Unwrap. I think I'll have to be in edit mode for this. There we go. Now we see this is another low poly mesh. You see a big difference here with that subdivision surface modifier. It really makes that mesh look a heck of a lot smoother than it really is. Realistically, our mesh is kind of lame. So again, the first thing we want to do here, go ahead and click this out. Very first thing we want to do is actually subdivide that. And go ahead and render this image real quick and see how we look. Make sure we're not poking through anywhere. Okay, yes, we're good. Come back to your UV image editor over here and close out of that image. Okay. Now this isn't exactly the UV unwrap that we want. This works well for skins, but it's definitely not how we want our mesh. We want to first of all go ahead and we want to rotate these and face them the same direction first of all. Sadly, it doesn't let me do the little circling thing. So this will take me a little second. So I'm actually going to pause the video real quick, select all of one side of the leg real quick, and flip it over. So I'll be right back. Okay. Now that I've gotten through manually selecting all of those vertices, you can actually circle and select in your 3D image, your 3D view, by holding Control and left click, but it didn't let me do that over here. So what I want to do with this is actually rotate this. So I'm going to hit R, and then I want to rotate it by 180 degrees. Delete that. Well, that's really cool, but that's not at all what I want to do. So we're going to probably have to create a new UV image for this. That's what it's looking like. Smooth, rotational. You know what? I think I'm on proportional editing. That might be why. Go ahead and move this over, and under mesh, go ahead and disable our proportional editing, then hit R again over here, and then we should be able to rotate that nicely. Okay, left click to place it, and then G to move it over a little bit so it's not exactly right there next underneath our other one. Go ahead and left click to place it. Okay, now we have both of our pants heading facing the same way. So we need to add a new image. Now the image that we're going to add doesn't actually add to the body. We had to add that texture manually the way we did earlier for the render, but we add the image over here so we can see what it's going to look like. So, image, open a new image, and we're going to come into our clothing, and I want to use my dark denim again. Okay. Now over here, go ahead and look at this textured. Now we can see our denim texture. They're the same way and everything. Okay. So the next thing we're going to want to do is actually move both of these, scale both of them up quite a bit so that our jeans, now that it looks a bit more like jeans, we actually have to make that a lot smaller. They're a little too close. So I'm going to have to select all of these as well. So over here, this is really easy. While you're in this little window, you can hit A to unselect and then A to select everything. Okay? And then hit S to scale it, and then pull that out. And then hit S again. We want to pull it out a little further. And that looks about right. Okay, now go ahead and render that image and see how those jeans look. Still kind of getting the same weird effect. Probably going to want to change the texture now. Now that we've changed our UV map a little bit. Yeah, I think what we might be getting, specular intensity. Scroll that down a bit. Put your specular on 0. And change this to black. Okay. Now go ahead and render that again. And let's see how that looks. See if that did anything for us. No, we're still getting a weird look. Hit tab to get back into object mode. Well, we have the right UV map on it now. We just need to change how our texture is affecting it. Our texture is written on it. So let's go ahead and change your mapping to tube, and let's change our coordinates to UV, and then set it to the UV text. Actually, let's go ahead and leave that flat. Now there we go. That's the texture we want. Okay, let me render this real quick before we go. I'm about out of time for this video. And that's a bit better for our jeans. Okay. I will see everyone again soon.